give without pause, to bend to please, to pour yourself into someone else until there's almost nothing left. It's easy to mistake that for love, especially when it's all you've known. But Kierkegaard saw the danger in this kind of devotion. Love without boundaries is not compassion, it is self-erasure. The more you offer without limit, the more you disappear inside the giving, and slowly, love turns into depletion, and tenderness becomes a quiet kind of grief. You are not meant to vanish in someone else's arms. Real love does not ask you to go missing. It meets you where you are and honours the shape of your soul, not in pieces, not in sacrifice, but in wholeness, gently held. In a world hushed by the quietude of night, a curious whisper calls to us, inviting exploration into the profound myth of love without boundaries. This ideal, like an enigmatic star guiding weary souls, seems to shimmer with divine potential, an untethered connection that transcends the ordinary confines of existence. It entices us with dreams of endless giving and seamless unity, enthralling the heart with its promises. Yet, as we journey deeper into this hypnotic labyrinth, we must navigate the delicate balance between enchantment and peril. Imagine standing on the shores of a vast ocean under a soft moonlit sky where love is illuminated in its seemingly infinite expanse. It's a vision that captures our longing for connection and unity, offering the intoxicating allure of a world unblemished by boundaries. But in its depths lurks a truth both beautiful and dangerous, a truth that threatens to consume us if we venture too far into its embrace. Boundless love, while appearing serene and abundant, holds the power to erase the distinctions that define us. It invites us to dive deeply, but warns of a profound immersion that may wash away the very essence of who we are. Without the firm anchor of boundaries, love becomes a tempting dissolution of self-preservation. It whispers promises of liberation from isolation, painting devotion in strokes of sacrifice, and urging us to tear down the walls we use for survival. Yet, in surrendering to this tide, the lines between individuals begin to fade, and the uniqueness of identity is absorbed into a collective identity, until I is no longer distinct from we. This merging, initially a poetic dance of togetherness, risks dissolving personal growth and self-discovery. As we traverse this terrain of unlimited love, the erosion of boundaries feels at first like a beautiful disappearance, where two spirits meld into one harmonious tapestry. It's a lyrical journey of unification, devoid of the usual guardrails of individuality. But lurking beneath such unity is a quiet erosion. In this giving, there is a silent longing for personal expression, a need for self-definition that boundaryless devotion cannot fulfill. The ethereal music of merging, despite its allure, conceals an undercurrent of yearning for reclamation of self. Endless giving, though wrapped in the guise of abundance, places lovers in a performance where endurance becomes a measure of worth. It paints a tableau where love knows no boundaries, flowing eternally with devotion and sacrifice. Yet within the heart of this ideal, cracks emerge. The depletion of one to maintain infinite giving demands a soul to question, when is it my turn to be held? Here lies the paradox of limitless love. It offers selfless giving as virtue while silencing the need for reciprocal care. This notion summons a silent burden, woven into the fabric of boundaryless love. Unspoken expectations mount, requiring lovers to bear one another's storms without respite. This weight, demanding eternal availability, steadily saps the soul. Over time, exhaustion creeps in, transforming love's promise into an unseen struggle. What began as a hopeful connection swells into a muted desire to break from its invisible chains. Here, invisibility begins to unfurl, revealing the inherent dangers of love ensnared by limitless demands. Yet amidst this ocean of endless giving exists the art of boundary setting, a sacred necessity misconstrued as selfishness. Far from destructive, boundaries beckon respect and growth, honouring individuality within shared reality. Here lies the delicate dance that acknowledges love without sacrificing self. Boundaries redefine love, not as barriers, but as spaces to cultivate self-worth and autonomy, providing the soil where authenticity and mutual respect can flourish. Kierkegaard, a traveller of existential realms, offers us wisdom on this path. He illuminates the necessity of balancing love with self-awareness, nurturing a love that transcends simplistic notions of self-erasure. To love effectively is to honour both the self and the beloved, promoting a dance where individuality and unity coexist. For Kierkegaard, love is an art form, a conscious negotiation where partners nurture each other's evolution, forming a journey of self-discovery wrapped in mutual respect. Within this reverence, we find transformative touchstones, practices that ground love in authenticity and personal growth. Mindfulness, journaling, and sacred communication become guiding lights, cultivating introspection amidst expectation's clamour. These rituals, like quiet lanterns, illuminate inner conflicts and empower individuals to transmute fear and guilt into gold, transforming love's fullest expression. In this space, love evolves from an ideal of boundaryless giving to an art of presence, authenticity, and mutual enrichment. Here, amidst the whispers of love without limits, lies the invitation to rediscover the self as an integral part of the dance, celebrating the sacred complexity of being both whole and part of something greater. In the hushed vaults of our cultural mythology, love is often depicted as a grand theatre of devotion, where the soul willingly offers itself as kindling for another's happiness. Tales of timeless romances echo the fervour of lovers who lay down their identities on the altar of union, suggesting that such sacrifice is the zenith of affection. Yet beneath this beautiful veil lies a treacherous path, where the line between devotion and self-erasure blurs, leading hearts into shadowy depths. In this quiet dance of giving, the essence of self whispers, "Where have I gone?" And the myth begins to unravel, revealing that true love demands boundaries as sure as stepping stones across a stream. Kierkegaard, in his wisdom, described love as a sacred struggle, an ethereal balancing act between merging and maintaining the self. Love should be a celestial dance of two souls, each distinct yet gracefully intertwined. When the myth of unconditional devotion grips us in its exquisite thrall, we may mistake personal sacrifice for loyalty, unaware that this self-effacing gesture distorts the purity of love. Here within the folds of passion, love's luminous path can lead to an entangled spiral, where one's soul is consumed in the swell of collective expectation. Within the shadow of this sacred struggle, we find the secret allure of being needed, a siren call that whispers to our deepest yearning for purpose. In the gentle hands of a lover's need, we find warmth and belonging, mistaking these for the steadfast bonds of love. Yet, as the heart sways to this melody, it risks tethering its worth to another's craving, trapped in a cycle that demands more of the self than love would ever require. To be needed is intoxicating, yet its sweetness can sour when it replaces love's tender embrace with obligation's heavy shroud. As the gentle rhythm of giving transforms into an incessant beat, The weight of expectation converges like a mist, thickening until it obscures the gentle glow of genuine connection. The heart, once buoyant with shared joys, finds itself steadily transformed under the guise of duty. Each act of giving feels less like a gift of love and more an unspoken contract. In this delicate spiral, love's song becomes a lament, woven with threads of fatigue and quiet desperation, urging us to reevaluate the terrain of sacrifice and care. Loyalty, with its noble visage, draws us further into this sacred labyrinth as we strive nobly to uphold the invisible bonds that tether us to another's heart. Yet, this steadfast loyalty can serve as a double-edged sword, its weighty blade slicing through the fragile fabric of self. When our tapestry of love becomes cloaked in the guise of unwavering allegiance, we risk betraying the very soul for whose joy we make our stand. Thus, in the gentle twilight of reflection, we must ask if our gestures are true devotion or shields against vulnerability's chilling bite. In the subtle art of losing oneself, devotion thrives beneath the romance of blending identities, where the self, once distinct and shimmering, dissolves into the quiet solace of another's orbit. This dissolution unfolds through quiet gestures meant to nurture love's blossom. Yet, as aspirations and desires fade into the penumbra, what is left is a whisper of individuality. In love's embrace, a delicate balance exists, a sacred space where the self must be tended like a flame, fed by the air of autonomy and trust. Navigating the intimate space between self and other is akin to walking the edge of a still lake at dawn, a delicate dance where each step must be mindful of the sacred boundary that allows both to flourish. These boundaries illuminate our shared connection, not as barriers, but as sacred spaces for love to weave its tapestry. When perceived as such, they become the gentle hands that hold love tenderly, allowing both souls to breathe and expand in their own light. Drawing these sacred lines requires not barriers, but invitations, paths where each soul can wander and return, knowing it is cherished as it is. In the quiet sanctuary of solitude, conversations with the self become guideposts, marking the journey inward. These whispered dialogues, held in the stillness of dawn or the contemplative dusk, unravel the web of self-deception and bring forth the truths that reside in silent corners. Through these dialogues, understanding blooms, revealing whether actions were cast from love's gentle hand or fear's restless grasp. This intimate communion shifts the narrative, planting seeds of awareness that blossom into a garden of clarity and self-love. Reclaiming oneself in the echo of devotion is a gentle awakening, a soft return to the heart's sacred ground. It is not about detaching from love's embrace, but about finding one's place within it once more. As we reclaim our essence, relationships transform, becoming luminous journeys where individuality and love flow together like rivulets to the sea. This reclamation is not an exit, but an entrance to deeper love, one that honours and celebrates the intricate dance of two souls, distinct yet entwined. Let us remember that the art of loving without losing oneself is not just a dream but a necessity. In mastering this delicate dance, we find that love doesn't constrict, it expands within its sacred architecture. Love, like an ancient mist swaying over morning fields, embraces boundaries not as limits but as the space in which authenticity flourishes. It is within this reverent understanding that love's true power is found, nurturing both individual and shared journeys with the profound wisdom of the ages. In the tapestry of human connection, compassion weaves its delicate threads, a virtue bridging the chasms between hearts and souls. Yet, there exists a fine balance, a precarious tipping point where boundless compassion melts into containment, a limitless vessel absorbing another's emotional chaos. In this delicate dance, we find ourselves lost, drifting from our core, the gentle waves of another's sorrow eroding our own identity. Without the anchor of boundaries, we transform into keepers of emotions that are not ours to resolve, losing sight of the sacred centre of our own being. This subtle erosion begins as we mistake empathy for absorption, surrendering to the storm of another's turmoil. Compassion, unanchored, becomes a torrent, bearing forth not healing but prolonged unrest. True compassion, to unfold its deepest resonance, must be rooted in boundaries that honour both the giver and receiver, creating a sanctuary for individual growth and transformation, where both can thrive without forsaking the self. We are often enraptured by the myth of selflessness, idolising the idea that real love demands the dissolution of personal boundaries. Kierkegaard whispers a truth beneath this illusion. Love without boundaries is like a shadow embracing the light, deep yet devoid of true awareness. It's a mirage that imprisons rather than liberates, eroding identity beneath the guise of devotion. To hold another's unresolved emotions is to give away the core of who we are, mistaking such absorption for altruism. But real selflessness harbours not the extinguishment of self, but the luminous presence of self within the relationship, where mutual growth is fostered through nurtured boundaries. As we sway to the rhythms of endless compassion, we relinquish our sense of agency, the ability to navigate our emotional currents. Emotional containment turns compassion into a cycle of caretaking at the expense of personal truth. Prioritising another's emotional states means losing sight of our own authentic desires. Agency is rediscovered through compassion, balanced by boundaries, restoring equilibrium where self-preservation and empathy coexist harmoniously. In bearing another's emotional burdens, we face the weight of misplaced responsibility, conflating love with the power to heal. This dynamic veils our truths, inviting cycles of guilt and blame that discourage those we love from finding their path to resilience. We obstruct their growth when we assume their emotional turmoil as our own to bear, denying them the transformative journey of self-discovery. In honouring individual journeys, we cultivate a terrain where both can learn the dance of independent resilience and shared joy. In the absence of boundaries, compassion and containment blur through a dance of projection and reflection. Jungian psychology delves into this, revealing how, without discernment, we project our shadows onto others or reflect back theirs. This entanglement births emotional dependency, scripting a narrative fueled by unmet needs. To navigate this labyrinth, we must tenderly embrace shadow work, delving into the projections within us and the reflections that arise in boundaryless love. In doing so, we uncover a deeper understanding of our shared humanity, inviting love to bloom untarnished by phantom reflections. Yet within boundless compassion lie emotional triggers, resilient guides pointing to unexplored depths. Though disruptive, these triggers offer gateways to transformation, the metamorphosis inherent within our intricate bonds. Jung speaks of shadow integration, urging us to approach these not as threats but neglected guides. Through conscious engagement, rooted in the sanctuary of boundaries, we convert emotional triggers into catalysts of growth, revealing the intricate facets of our psyche in nourishing clarity. To protect the sanctity of identity, we turn to the art of compassionate detachment. extending love while remaining anchored within our own heart's harbour. It is not indifference, but a refined empathy that honours personal sovereignty, ensuring our empathy does not consume our narratives. Through mindful practice, we learn to support others without subsuming their pain, empowering them to journey their path with dignity and autonomy, free from containment's constraints. Compassion often encounters trials when faced with the shadowy facets of relationships characterized by manipulation or deceit, traits that dance among darkened introspections. Compassion without clarity can quickly become containment for these shadows, allowing power imbalances to take root. Here, empathy and discernment must meet, shining light through the shadow, maintaining awareness while upholding boundaries. Through this clarity, love transforms into a force for healing, unclouded by darkness, preserving the self's integrity and resilience. Rituals of reclamation invite a rebalancing of compassion, creating sacred spaces for intentional connection. Reflective journaling, meditative silence, and structured conversations reaffirm boundaries, guiding individuals back to their emotional centres. These rituals serve as vessels of renewal, fortifying our essence as we nurture the bonds of connection. Hand in hand, through conscious compassion, we journey with those we care deeply for, reclaiming our core from the confines of containment. As we envision a love beyond containment, we imagine a world where compassion dances in equilibrium with boundaries, respecting individual growth while nurturing shared journeys of understanding. In this sacred space, love transcends the vessel of wounds, emerging as a conduit of connection, a dance where both souls engage in sacred discourse. Love becomes an act of becoming, a journey into wholeness, celebrating difference, nurturing vulnerability, and revering the worth of the self. In this, we embrace love fiercely, discern wisely, and traverse humanity's depths with open arms. In the quiet allure of romantic ideals, there lies a notion that the most profound love erases the boundaries between two souls. Imagine two streams merging into a single river, losing their distinct paths to become one unified flow. So too does love often promise a kind of transcendence, a harmonious we that beckons with whispers of complete unity and fulfillment. Yet like shadows creeping over sunlit meadows, this pursuit may lead the singular I to gradually disappear, swallowed by the larger narrative of togetherness. This transformation into the collective we is celebrated by countless stories and songs. Yet, beneath this romance, the quiet erosion of individual identity begins. In this dance of dissolution, the needs and dreams of one may recede into dimly lit corners, overshadowed by the shared desires of another. As the symphony of two hearts interweaves, individual voices often hush, their melodies muted by the louder chorus of unity. Slowly and subtly, the line between self and other blurs, the distinct I dissolving into the vastness of we. This enchanting ideal of boundaryless love, while beautiful in its promise, often leads individuals into a perilous realm where one's identity becomes but a quiet echo amidst the roar of shared existence. In the tender embrace of such love, identity is offered as a sacrificial token on love's altar. The yearning for acceptance encourages many to place another's needs above their own, inadvertently treading a delicate path towards self-neglect. Boundaries, once a fortress of self-preservation, are laid bare, leaving the soul open to the slow erosion of self-awareness. Each surrender of personal choice hints at a shared life, yet it disguises a gradual forgetfulness of one's own passions and dreams. The artful dance of adopting a partner's preferences, convinced of its necessity for deep love, leaves personal joys to wither under the weight of compromise. The allure of losing oneself in another stems not only from love's pull, but from an illusion, a comforting facade of safety and security. Love, in its intimate weaving, offers a cocoon against the world's chaos, a shield of togetherness that seems to guard against external threats. Yet, this perceived safety masks a silent engulfment where personal identity is unknowingly exchanged for the illusion of companionship's protection. Here, one risks becoming entirely dependent on another's validation, their emotional self-worth tied precariously to a partner's gaze. While boundaries fall away, autonomy languishes, rendering the spirit vulnerable in storms both inside and out. Even so, this intimacy carries with it, quietly and insidiously, an emotion akin to tyranny. Within love's without boundary embrace, an intricate, suffocating web forms, as one's emotional state entwines with another's moods and whims. Through endless consideration of a partner's emotional landscape, one's own needs fade, obscured by the weight of another's tides. With each step into this emotional confluence, self-expression is stifled, personal growth is constricted, and the spirit struggles against currents that promise unity but deliver imprisonment. The absence of defined boundaries doesn't nurture liberation. Rather, it entraps in a cycle of controlled conformity. Amid this dissolution, subtle waves of resentment begin to ripple beneath the surface. Constantly placing another above oneself, the spirit grows weary, its patience eroded by the ongoing sacrifice of personal desires. Silence thickens around unmet needs as frustrations lie buried beneath layers of compromise. Resentment, a shadowy presence, feeds on this quiet devaluation, stretching the distance between two hearts that once sought closeness. The paradox emerges. What should have drawn partners together now separates them, hidden emotions widening the chasm of connection. Yet, in the muffled chaos, a soft awakening unfolds, a whispering seed of self-awareness, shaking the spirit gently awake. Gradually the soul begins to question the comfort of disappearing into another, longing to rediscover its essence veiled by the guise of love. Steps toward this revelation, though tentative, light the way for reclaiming the self from the shadows of shared identity. Introspection, courage, and a willingness to confront long-accepted truths guide this journey, inviting eyes to truly see the landscape that love without boundaries has sketched so silently. Thus begins the journey of self-rediscovery, where the lost pieces of the soul beckon to be gathered again. Journaling thoughts as they rise, meditating upon forgotten joys, engaging in cognitive exploration, all become tools for unearthing the treasure of one's own identity. These activities nurture an understanding that compassion for the self does not equate to selfishness, but rather embraces a fuller love. Through this unveiling, individuals learn to navigate love's expansive waters with renewed clarity, steering towards shores that honour both individuality and unity. The inclusion of boundaries becomes the gentle artist of this restoration. Boundaries, tenderly crafted, nurture authenticity and fortify relationships with clarity and understanding. They are not cages to restrict love, but doorways to a shared landscape of empathy and celebration. In establishing these structures, the spirit reclaims its freedom to thrive, expressing its true colours without fear. Here, love reveals itself anew, not as a mirror swallowing the self, but as a brilliant dance of mutual discovery, illuminating the path from silent erasure to vibrant self-illumination. In the gentle embrace of moonlight's shimmer, a tale softly unfolds, a story of love painted in hues as boundless as the ocean's horizon. We wander through a world where the notion of giving eternally has been cloaked in romantic veils, revered as a devotion so profound that it denies itself any horizon. This ideal whispers to our hearts, a dream promising love, limitless and unconstrained. Yet beneath the surface of this enchanting dream lies an unsettling truth, a potential mirage of human longing and frailty. For in the pursuit of endless giving, we find not only the glory of love, but also the quiet shadow of self-erasure. The heart yearns to give without reserve, to pour its essence into another, believing in a reservoir that never wanes. Yet within this desire there lies the fallacy, that one can endlessly offer themselves without relinquishing their own essence. As we delve into the depths of psychological patterns, we see how love can tether one soul into a vessel, carrying another's burdens without acknowledgement of its own boundaries. In this boundless pursuit, love shifts from a mutual sharing to a quiet performance of endurance, leaving the self to quietly ask, when will it be my turn to be held? The allure of being generous dances through our cultural narratives, teaching us from tender years that true love equates to selfless giving. Such notions instill a virtue in giving without pause, obscuring the giver's own need for renewal. The romantic ideal becomes a golden snare, rewarding outward flow while ignoring the imperative inward gaze. Identity intertwines with this giving, where value seems to lie solely in our ability to provide, nurturing fleeting approval yet fostering core conflict. It nudges us toward the inner wilderness, where loneliness echoes, urging us to question whether the act of giving has forgotten the soul's silent cry for mutual embrace. In this dance of relentless care, voices whisper but remain unheard, grappling within a relationship that asks for everything yet offers little space in return. A tapestry of expectations weaves tightly, where personal needs dissolve into the greater chorus, leaving whispered dreams to reside unseen in shadowed alcoves of the heart. As we journey toward reclaiming voice and presence, acknowledgement of this silent lament becomes an act of courage, shifting from caretaker to participant in a conversation of reciprocal presence. The landscape unfolds into a new narrative, one that celebrates both the art of giving and the sacred ritual of receiving, fostering a dialogue grounded in shared vulnerability. Here emerges the gentle rebellion of self-care, a quiet uprising against the currents of eternal giving. It is the sacred art of turning inward, a hallowed gesture that restores balance where only offering existed before. Society may dismiss this as indulgence, yet its whispered wisdom carries the potential for profound restoration, honouring the integrity of mind and spirit. The path of self-care weaves through recognising self-neglect, inviting gentle rituals that nurture growth, be it through stolen moments of reflection or boundaries that honour the sanctity of one's space. Meanwhile, the soul's inaudible plea for reciprocity lingers, a longing to be seen, cherished, and honoured without condition. The quiet echo of "when is it my turn" marks a core need for relationships that thrive symbiotically, nurturing all involved. This acknowledgement is a courageous leap, inviting us to untangle the worth we've wrapped in giving, transitioning to a world where mutuality reigns. It opens a space for love to exist as a partnership of shared support, moving beyond the archetypes of asymmetric sacrifice. To redefine love, we must journey through uncharted terrain, a reimagining where relationships honour the vitality of both participants. Love is not an act of one-sided sacrifice, but a delicate balance of giving and receiving. As we leave the myth of endless giving behind, we step toward an awareness that love thrives on authenticity, weaving through boundaries that respect and preserve individuality. This understanding allows love to blossom as a partnership of trust, where both beings flourish in a dance of mutual devotion. In this sacred embrace of vulnerability, we find the courage to share our imperfections, to be seen wholly and celebrated in the rawness of truth. No longer sacrificed on the altar of self-protection, vulnerability becomes the heartbeat of connection, fostering bonds that resonate deeply and endure. It is in this open-hearted space that love transforms, a union of souls unguarded, allowing intimacy to transcend the superficial shine of relentless selflessness. The journey toward equilibrium in love is a continuous unfolding, a patchwork of authenticity and shared growth that honours love as an ever-adaptive poem. Moving away from the illusion of unending giving invites both to delve deeper, embracing the alchemy within balanced relationships. Here, love becomes not a place of sacrifice, but a garden where both partners, nourished and whole, partake in the dance of life. Through these gentle steps, love returns to its essence, a communion of heart and spirit within the intricate labyrinth of human connection. In the quiet corners of our minds, the fear of setting boundaries lingers, born from tales of selflessness whispered into our ears since childhood. From the first moments we learned to share our toys to the stories of saints and sacrifices, the lesson remained unchanged. To love means to give endlessly. Society's ancient cradle nurtures this ideal, where love is a river with no banks, flowing into an ocean of self-sacrifice. This narrative weaves through the fabric of our lives, embedding itself into our identities. Many among us carry the invisible burden of being labelled as selfish or unkind, for daring to voice our needs, for uttering the gentle no when our spirit quakes with the strain of giving. This deep-seated fear may be adorned with cultural badges that elevate the sacrificial lover as the hero, the martyr made of dreams, leaving boundaries to masquerade as walls, opposition to what is sacred. Such fears forge emotional barriers, preventing us from crafting the structures we so desperately need. We tether our worth to an ability to absorb, to carry, to be the endless well for others' needs. The role of the selfless caregiver is glorified, but quietly it erodes our foundation, leaving our wells dry. Love, stripped of boundaries, wanders untethered until it collapses under its weight, shattering on the rocks of exhaustion. It is in these fields of limitless love that we must sow seeds of understanding and reimagine its roots. Cultural stories and relics conspire with these fears, whispering tales of unyielding devotion as the epitome of love's crown. These narratives, heavy with tradition, lift self-sacrifice as the ultimate virtue, ensnaring many in the delicate web of obligation and expectation. Particularly for some, this burden is heavier as societal roles dictate the caretakers of not just emotions, but entire worlds. The fear of stepping outside these roles imprisons us in a cycle of people-pleasing, silencing the gentle call for self-care. This fear is a tangled vine winding around our hearts, discouraging us from nurturing our own garden. It creates a dissonance where relational harmony echoes with inner discord, a tumultuous sea beneath a serene sky. The bravery to speak our boundaries can be met with misunderstanding, turning us back into the shadows. Within this shadow dwells guilt, an ancient spectre that whispers in hushed tones whenever we dare to carve out personal space. As we weigh our needs against others, the scales tip under the burden of misplaced responsibilities, falsely equating self-care with neglectful absence. This distorted empathy urges us to ignore our own heart's whispers to keep others' hearts steady, perpetuating a cycle of suppression that erodes genuine connection. Yet amidst this fog of guilt, a truth emerges. Self-care does not stand opposed to love. Rather, it complements it, offering a deeper well from which empathy and connection can flow. It is not an act of severance, but of respect. For without nurturing our own garden, how can we offer the world more than weeds? Our culture must transform, seeing boundary setting not as selfishness, but as the purest act of self-respect. It is a gentle revolution, a quiet reaffirmation of our worth. If left unchecked, the relentless breaking of boundaries can corrode the soul, leading to doubt and unseen wounds. As lines blur, our sense of self withers, eclipsed by roles thrust upon us. This erosion can deepen into an abyss of anxiety and despair, as whispers of inadequacy drown our true nature. Recognizing this pain allows us to reclaim our power, to draw new lines that define us not by absence, but presence. Consequently, the sacred art of boundary setting becomes an act of self-liberation. Through it, we reclaim time, energy, and emotions, crafting a sanctuary where self-worth blooms unfettered by overextension. With each boundary, we edge closer to inner clarity, aligning our being with our values. In this dance, relationships too find new rhythms, no longer strained by imbalance but nurtured by mutual respect. Boundaries, once seen as the antithesis of love, reveal themselves as its canvas, offering a structure where genuine connection thrives. In their presence, love stands not as sacrifice but a symphony of togetherness and individuality. Our journey of boundary setting becomes a pathway to wholeness, where love evolves into an entity that honours complexity and unity alike. True love acknowledges that its strength lies not in how much one gives, but in how deeply each can thrive within it. This new vision of love casts old fears aside, liberating us to embrace connection without losing ourselves in the depths of another's needs. It marks the dawn of understanding, where love is no longer a chain of sacrifice, but a tapestry woven with threads of respect and sacred individuality. In the delicate realm of human connection, there lies a profound truth whispered in the quiet spaces between heartbeats. Love devoid of individuality is not love at all. Kierkegaard, with his penetrating insight, reminds us that in the symphony of relationships, one's essence must not dissolve into the melody, but rather remain a distinct, sovereign note. It is within the unique contours of our personal selves that love finds its truest expression, a sacred dance that does not demand sacrificing our identity upon the altar of unity. Picture, if you will, a garden where myriad flowers blossom, each with its hue and fragrance. This garden's beauty is defined not by the amalgamation into one, but by the diversity that each flower brings. Love, too, must be a celebration of individual differences, where the sacred spaces of our souls remain intact and revered. It is not a myth that love asks us to forfeit ourselves. Rather, it is enriched by the acknowledgement of two distinct beings, choosing to intertwine their lives, enhancing the emotional connection that allows both to thrive and flourish. The longing to merge identities, however alluring, often whispers a tale of caution. Kierkegaard warned of the peril when the yearning for unity overshadows the vibrancy of individuality. In the pursuit of an all-encompassing oneness, we risk losing sight of who we are, our aspirations muting beneath the weight of another's dreams. Thus, love becomes a space where personal boundaries blur and aspirations are shelved, leaving in their wake the shadow of our former selves. This erosion of identity breeds a precarious crisis where we find ourselves adrift, unsure of where we end and our beloved begins. And yet, within this perceived loss lies the potential for liberation. The philosophy of differentiation, as Kierkegaard suggests, is a clarion call to embrace the distinct facets that make us who we are. Here, love is not a suffocating merger, but a coexistence that recognises and celebrates our individual constellations of experience. In this dance of differentiation, we engage in a dialogue of souls where our separate worlds bridge into a tapestry of shared intimacy. It is a union not defined by dilution, but by the mutual respect and understanding that allows each to grow within this beautifully crafted togetherness. Thus, love becomes a practice of presence rather than absorption. Kierkegaard beckons us to redefine emotional connectivity, moving beyond losing oneself in another to being truly present with them. This presence requires a genuine engagement, listening, seeing, and honouring the other while remaining rooted in our own identity. Picture a dialogue between two souls where each is attuned to the other's emotional and intellectual landscape, a harmonious exchange that strengthens the connection as each maintains their own grounded presence. In this dance of being present, narrative identity and boundaries emerge as the frame holding the brushstrokes of love and self. Kierkegaard guides us to cherish dialogue, where personal stories intersect yet do not eclipse. These boundaries are not barriers, but flexible lines that preserve personal growth within the tapestry of shared love. Envision this as a mural, each narrative a vibrant work of art, coloured by experiences both personal and collective. Kierkegaard's lens brings into focus existential autonomy within love, an invitation to celebrate the freedom to define oneself, even amidst union. Love should not bind but liberate, encouraging exploration and growth as partners support each other's journeys. This autonomy fosters a vibrant relationship where love itself is a choice, a celebration not of non-existent bonds but of freely shared presence. In this sacred space where individuality is cherished, solitude becomes a partner rather than an adversary. Kierkegaard reframes solitude as an interlude within the symphony of love, offering room for reflection and renewal. It is within these quiet moments that each note of our existence can find its resonance, providing clarity and introspection that enrich both personal growth and the equilibrium of the relationship. At the heart of individuality and union lies self-worth, an unwavering foundation that sustains love. Love that disregards self-worth crumbles under its weight. For true partnership arises from the strength of seeing oneself as worthy, complete, and without need for validation. This self-worth interwoven with love fosters resilience, where individuals do not abandon themselves, but offer an unyielding authenticity. In love's dance, balance between attachment and detachment is the rhythm that sustains individuality and enriches union. Attachment offers warmth, and detachment grants space, allowing love to breathe and flourish. It is not an absence of connection, but a delicate knowing of when to embrace and when to allow space, crafting a relationship both deeply connected and expansively free. In this journey of mutual self-discovery, as Kierkegaard envisions, love invites us to unravel the mystery within ourselves through another. This sacred adventure of shared exploration builds a resilient foundation where love adapts, thrives, and respects the dreams and narratives of both self and partner. Within this sacred arena, love becomes a dynamic dance, reflecting the infinite potential of individuality celebrated in union, a tapestry ever woven by the shared journey where hearts meet to honour the sacred art of love infused with self. In the gentle weave of human connection, the word no emerges not as a barrier, but as a whisper of authenticity. It glides through the air like a sacred song, reminding us that among the many voices seeking our attention, our own voice remains vital and resonant. To say no is not simply to refuse. It is a profound affirmation of self-worth, a quiet claim on the spaces we must protect to remain whole. Through this single word, often tangled with guilt or fear of exclusion, we discover a foundation of self-respect, a delicate yet unyielding boundary that allows us to dwell fully within ourselves while honouring others' sanctity. It is through the courage to utter this word that we unlock authentic connections, relationships steeped in true respect and mutual understanding. This journey towards the art of no, freeing ourselves from the invisible chains of external validation, is an act of great liberation. In a world that often values ceaseless compliance and availability as markers of worth, learning to say no becomes a practice in authenticity. By doing so, we acknowledge our boundaries while respecting those of others, fashioning relationships that are deeply sustaining. Each no is an opportunity to declare our values and priorities, firmly planting us as the authors of our narratives, unswayed by the external tides of expectation. Yet, saying no stirs a cauldron of emotions, crafted from the echoes of our social upbringing and simmering insecurities. Fear, lurking in the shadows, anticipates loss, be it of relationships, approval, or love. This fear, primal in its origin, was once tied to survival, yet now it can entrap us in cycles of self-sacrifice. By confronting this fear, we can transform it into a bridge of liberation. Meanwhile, guilt coils itself around our hearts, insisting that refusal is a departure from our moral compass. This fabricated burden, woven from inner and outer judgments, measures worth by our service to others. In unspooling this web of guilt, we distinguish between self-absorption and self-care. As we embrace ourselves wholly, we learn to say no when necessary, ensuring every yes is given freely and with capacity. With each no, we delve deeper into our psyche, exploring our true needs, desires and values. This word acts as our guide, mapping a safe passage through the labyrinth of our emotions. By examining when and why we feel drawn to say no, we outline the terrain of our comfort, defining what we can offer versus what we must safeguard. This reflection erects a self-concept marked by confidence and clarity. Exploring these moments of tension illuminates where our boundaries stretch too thin, prompting inward inquiries that strengthen our foundation, built on understanding and acceptance. This practice does not only redefine how we view no, but also enhances our empathy and integrity. To speak no with compassion is to master a language that respects the dignity of both speaker and listener. Boundaries become threads of connection, woven with empathy that transforms potential disputes into dialogue. Kindness and clarity imbue no with a reinforcing power, nurturing healthy relationships. By integrating emotional intelligence, recognizing the broader spectrum of needs, and contextualizing our no, we craft a narrative of shared understanding. This articulation of refusal preserves relationship integrity, binding interactions with empathy and truth. Saying no reclaims personal agency, positioning us as architects of a life guided by our truths. By exercising this power, we escape passive acquiescence and embrace active participation in our destiny. Such transformations reshape relationships from arenas of power struggle into sanctuaries of mutual respect. This extends beyond individuals, influencing wider ecosystems of relationship. Honest no dispels dependency illusions, setting the stage for egalitarian exchanges rooted in honesty. By owning no, we signal readiness for relationships grounded in equality, fostering an atmosphere ripe for reciprocal growth. On a spiritual plane, no reveres individuality and autonomy, honouring our unique journeys. Respecting personal boundaries becomes a homage to this sacred path, ensuring its protection and relevance. This deep acknowledgement of the divine interconnectedness elevates interactions beyond the mundane, imbuing them with the richness that nourishes the soul. Each no, seen as a sacred stitch, strengthens humanity's collective tapestry, a dance of mutual respect where every individual is vital. Incorporating no into life is a deliberate dance of alignment, ensuring our external world reflects our inner realities. It involves curating environments and relationships that uphold our boundaries, conserving energy for endeavours that truly matter. Discerning when to say no allows us to manage our time wisely, reclaiming sovereignty over our lives. By basing choices around boundaries, we protect our core well-being, ensuring each moment resonates with presence and intention. Encountering resistance when saying no is part of the journey towards self-actualization, requiring self-reassurance and resilience. Meeting this challenge head-on strengthens commitment to authenticity. Embracing resistance as a learning opportunity refines our approach, encouraging boundary setting and respect. This perseverance teaches not just boundary setting, but boundary respecting, fostering mutual understanding. Saying no, a practice of continuous self-discovery and growth, invites us to reflect and adapt. Embracing no as an enduring commitment fosters life of intention. It requires self-compassion and resilience, turning missteps into learning for a legacy of authenticity. This shared journey influences a narrative where no becomes a catalyst for personal and collective transformation. By embracing this practice, we step fully into our truth, crafting a life resonant with harmony and fulfillment. In a world where love often runs untamed and boundless, there exists a deeper form, one where structure brings love to life in new, profound ways. This is not a cage of rules, but a gentle framework where love can thrive like a garden, needing sunlight and shade, water and space to flourish. Imagine a love that holds steady, not through relentless giving, but through mutual growth and understanding. This structured love nurtures, serving as nourishment for two souls to grow side by side. In this sacred dance, partners acknowledge their individuality, yet weave their lives together with intention. Like a dance, it is graceful and measured, where each step respects the other's rhythm, never overshadowing. The essence of structured love is not to limit, but to provide a foundation where both can expand. It forms a lattice through which emotions and dreams climb, anchoring the spirit while allowing it to soar. Here, rituals play a significant role. Those simple, repeated acts of connection that breathe life into love. These are not grand gestures, but the tender, everyday moments that align two hearts, whispers of good night or silent cups of coffee shared at dawn. These rituals create islands of certainty amidst life's turbulence, drawing both partners back to their shared centre. In these small acts, life's grand narrative is woven, where each thread of routine holds bright intention. To create such rituals is to partake in an art form, one that tunes into the unique melody of a relationship. It requires attentiveness and commitment, crafting spaces where both presence and reflection invite growth. These small but mighty acts become the very backbone of the bond, fueling it with stability and joy, marking the cadence of a shared life. Agreements within the structure act as the hidden framework, guiding love's direction with grace. They are more than mere promises, they are conscious commitments to foster understanding and respect. Such agreements form the architecture of love, offering clarity that prevents the erosion of individual selves. Establishing boundaries within this space becomes an act of love itself, safeguarding the sacred terrain of the heart and mind. Within these boundaries lies the freedom to grow. Structured love provides fertile ground for both personal evolution and shared journeys. It supports the blossoming of individuals, allowing them to shed their skins without fear. This is an invitation to explore new depths of self, encouraged by a partner who rejoices in your becoming. Relationships should be springboards to transcend, not anchor. Here, communication becomes the lifeline, a channel of truth and vulnerability. It's in this transparent exchange that love finds its profoundest expression. Picture a canvas where emotions paint freely without fear or constraint, where trust and openness nourish the soul. In this tender openness, misunderstandings dissolve, revealing a space full of healing and deep connection. Structured love beautifully balances autonomy with togetherness, deftly navigating the desire for independence with the call of connection. It is a fine, deliberate balance, granting the richness of companionship while leaving room for solitary reflection and growth. Like the rhythmic tide, it allows retreats into selfhood, giving space for new strengths to bloom, while magnifying the joy of togetherness. This love, rooted in respect and reciprocity, is a garden tended equally by both. Respect is the act of seeing and honouring a partner as they truly are, free from expectation or demand. It's a continuous acknowledgement of human dignity that fuels the reciprocal flow, maintaining the balance of give and receive, where both find fulfillment. Within this nurturing ecology of love, stories and metaphors become vessels for understanding, transcending words to convey the heart's deepest truths. They create a shared narrative, a tapestry of experiences that enrich the partnership with layered meaning, offering windows into each other's worlds. Through storytelling, partners chart their shared journey, crafting a vision that not only honours the present, but anticipates a boundless future. Calm acceptance, the quiet backbone of structured love, invites partners to wholeheartedly embrace each other's perfections and flaws. It is a practice of seeing clearly and loving anyway, nurturing a refuge from judgment where growth happens naturally, without force or fear. Here, love becomes a shelter amidst life's storms, grounding its strength in serenity and acceptance. In the sacred dance of structured love, momentum is a journey of timeless presence rather than haste. It is a commitment to engage deeply and deliberately, cherishing each shared heartbeat and gentle moment. This sacred space of continuity allows both partners to explore and celebrate love's rhythm, transcending the mere passage of time. Thus, structured love becomes a poetic waltz of hearts, a testament to the enduring power of two souls moving together through life's unfolding mystery, forever bound by the invisible threads of understanding, joy, and unwavering respect. In the rich tapestry of life, love emerges as a journey of not just two, but three entities: you, I, and the sacred space between us. This chapter extends an invitation to explore love not as a final destination, but as an ongoing pilgrimage towards wholeness, where individual and mutual paths run parallel, intertwined yet distinct. This mutual becoming is a hallowed sanctuary, a garden where both souls can flourish. It is a dance where the sun and moon cast their own lights over the earth shared between them, urging growth through understanding and compassion. Kierkegaard saw love as a delicate balance of divine solitude and connection, illuminating both our shadows and those of our beloved. The concept of love as mutual becoming roots itself in the transformation that occurs through seeing and being seen. It is a dialogue that treasures the potential for change within ourselves and in the one we love, transcending the mere merging of souls into a cosmic dance of growth and transformation. This perception allows love to serve as a crucible for the alchemy of the human spirit, wherein two beings meet to embark on the voyage of co-creation. Within this vibrant dance, both self and other play intricate roles, each a note in a harmonious symphony. Here, the self is magnified rather than overshadowed by the other, with love serving as a sacred mirror, reflecting deeper aspects of identity yet unexplored. Such roles are dynamic, flourishing on the understanding that love is ever-changing, an endless ebb and flow where reciprocal truths are shared, advancing individual evolution in tandem with collective thriving. This requires embracing a fluidity that honours both partners' complexity, enabling love to revolutionize the landscape of what we perceive as it truly is. Approaching love as mutual becoming compels us to embrace vulnerability, an open-heartedness that unveils our innermost selves. To love another, we must first confront our own truths, recognizing our frailties and fractures. This act is both terrifying and liberating, akin to Kierkegaard's leap of faith into the divine unknown. From vulnerability, courage naturally flows, a force propelling us into the sacred unknown, where setting healthy boundaries becomes a courageous act of nurturing and advocating for oneself. Here, love becomes a living entity, an evolving masterpiece painted in presence and intentionality. Navigating boundaries within a relationship is akin to performing an intricate dance, balancing freedom with containment. Boundaries, carefully held, construct a bridge to freedom, creating a vessel strong enough to hold two vast and distinct souls. Through healthy delineations, love flourishes and grows, a sanctuary where each partner can expand and express without fear of losing themselves. Within this gentle framework, love thrives in the tension between autonomy and unity, where each soul meets and unites without surrendering its essence. In this sacred realm, shadows often lurk, woven from past wounds and unmet desires. Two beings must acknowledge these shadows, viewing them not as threats, but as integral pieces of their whole selves. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow calls us to understand and integrate these hidden facets. Through companionship, they become opportunities for learning, allowing the light of love to transform and illuminate. When acknowledged, shadows and light intertwine, weaving a complex tapestry that tells the story of love's evolution, a journey of discovering each other within life's universal dances. Love's sacred realm invites us into a delicate interplay of silence and communication, a balance essential for connection. Silence is not absence, but a space rich with potential, a sanctuary for reflection where understanding brews. These quiet moments often speak the loudest truths, allowing two partners simply to be. Communication then bridges the silence, revealing the profound and the ordinary, binding two souls through words, gestures, and unspoken devotion. Co-creating in love transforms the partners into artisans of a shared world, crafting a space for growth and transformation. This environment fosters support and nurtures both individuality and collaboration, making love flourish beautifully. Through trust and empathy, each interaction becomes a sacred ritual, a testament to the power of co-creation and shared dreams. Within this intimate world, love is boundless, allowing for new truths to emerge, poised to soar toward a future bright with promise. Finally, sacred mutual becoming extends an invitation to authenticity, urging us to reveal our true selves within the embrace of love. In this space, facades melt away, revealing the raw beauty of the soul. Authenticity blooms as love transforms from conditional to transcendent, encouraging each partner to delve deeper into their truth. Through this journey, love encourages wholeness, urging lovers to meet each other anew through life shifts. Thus, love's potential lies in a path where authenticity takes root and thrives. In conclusion, we return to Kierkegaard's wisdom. For love to be true, it must include the self. Love respects and honours each individual's essence, advocating for a union that celebrates individuality. Here, love unfolds into its fullest potential, a journey of realisation where two autonomous beings unite in shared purpose. Love nurtures both the individual and the collective, guiding them toward their truest selves. As this sacred dance plays out, Kierkegaard's truth resounds within, reminding us that pure love amplifies rather than eclipses the self. If this journey resonated with you, please like, share and subscribe to continue exploring these profound themes together.